Please rise. The recipients of the Order of Nova Scotia. Mrs. Viola Robinson, Chair of the Order of Nova Scotia Advisory Council. The Honourable Stephen McNeil, Premier of Nova Scotia. Ladies and gentlemen, His Honour Brigadier General, the Honourable J.J. Grant, Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, and Her Honour, Mrs. Joan Grant. Please remain standing. The Phoenix Community Choir, under the direction of Simon Abbott, will lead us in the singing of O Canada. Please be seated. The Phoenix Community Choir is made up of youth, staff, and volunteers from the Phoenix community. They've just started their 5th season singing together to celebrate youth in Halifax and raising awareness about the challenges young people face in our city. Good morning. Good morning, I'm Glennie Langell, I'm the Chief of Protocol for the Province of Nova Scotia and Secretary of the Order of Nova Scotia. On behalf of His Honour and the Premier of Nova Scotia, I welcome you to the ceremony today. The Order of Nova Scotia is the highest honour the province can bestow on one of its citizens. I am so proud to be part of today's ceremony. I shall begin by reading a citation for each recipient, who will then be invested into the Order by His Honour, and then receive a citation by the Premier. Each recipient will then sign the official Book of Records, which become archival. I would now call upon Margaret MacDonald Casey of Halifax. Dr. Margaret Casey is a doctor by profession and a teacher and community advocate at heart. She is one of a small group of health professionals who recognize the unmet urgent need of North End Halifax families for accessible and respectful health care. She understands that improving health care means addressing poverty, illiteracy, and racism. Her quiet leadership style has inspired fellow physicians and healthcare providers to give back to the communities in which they work. She is a generous mentor and a valued member of the faculty of Dalhousie Medical School. She goes where help is needed and has volunteered in medical clinics in Haiti and St. Lucia. Dr. Casey, through almost 50 years of service, has made her corner of Nova Scotia a kinder place. Your Honor, I present Margaret MacDonald Casey. I would now call upon Louis E. DeVoe of Dartmouth. Louis DeVoe is the founder of Acadian Sea Plants Limited. Starting with one plant, his leadership and entrepreneurial spirit was the driving force behind a company which today exports to more than 80 countries around the world. He is dedicated to research and development, making Nova Scotia the center of a globally recognized industry. He is a member of the Order of Canada and the Nova Scotia Business Hall of Fame. Louis DeVoe is very proud of his Acadian roots. He has served as Chancellor of Université Sainte-Anne and remains very involved in the university and in the Acadian community, especially in the areas of business development, innovation, and applied research. Your Honor, I present Louis E. DeVoe. I would now call upon Martin Rudy Hase of Chester. Rudy Hase was an environmentalist before the term was created. He has fought against harmful pesticides, uranium mining, nuclear power, and clear-cut logging. He has championed environmental causes around the world and has succeeded in saving precious areas of land for future generations to enjoy. Rudy Hase has also been a lifelong supporter of arts, culture, education, and heritage. He has an intense commitment to symphonic music and has helped many gifted musicians pursue their talent and dreams. He has lived modestly so that he may give largely. Your Honor, I present Martin Rudy Hosse. I would now call upon Sharon Hope Irwin of Sydney. Sharon Hope Irwin has devoted 40 years to ensuring that childcare is inclusive, affordable, accessible, and comprehensive. Her daycare center in Glace Bay successfully integrated children with visual impairments, children with brittle bone disease, and children with cerebral palsy. She found a way to give children the care they deserved, transforming lives. She created the nonprofit Special Link, the National Center for Early Childhood Inclusion, and went on the road to share that message of inclusion throughout Canada. Her efforts have resulted in major policy and practice changes in every province. She is recognized as Canada's advocate for the inclusion of young children with special needs and the rights of children. Your Honor, I present Sharon Hope Irwin. I will now read a tribute to the late Dr. Alistair MacLeod of Dunvegan. There are times even now when I wake at 4 o'clock in the morning with the terrible fear that I have overslept. And with those words, so many of us were introduced to the genius of Alistair MacLeod. He was born in Saskatchewan, but his ancestral home was Cape Breton. He was deeply influenced by the Gaelic language and culture of his people and was able to translate the spirit and value of oral traditions into his stories, which in turn were translated into 17 languages. His novel, No Great Mischief, is fiction, but resonates with truth. He received many awards and accolades in his life, but he remained to the end humble, generous, and a good friend to those who needed one. Alistair MacLeod was a mentor to young writers and taught creative writing for many years at the University of Windsor. He was laid to rest in Broad Cove, Cape Breton. And yes, I was a big fan. Your Honor, I will now call upon Mrs. Anita MacLeod, wife of Alistair MacLeod, to receive the order on his behalf. May I ask the recipients to rise, please? Ladies and gentlemen, the recipients of the Order of Nova Scotia for the year 2015. Please be seated. You are an inspiration to all Nova Scotians. Each of you has contributed in a remarkable way to this place, our home. Be it your birthplace, your ancestral home, or your chosen home, we are grateful to you. I'd like now to introduce Elle Jones. Elle Jones is many things. She is a woman, she is a poet, she is Afro-Métis, and a transplanted Nova Scotian. But first and foremost, she is an outspoken artist. And today we are honored to have Elle perform her tribute to our newest members of the Order of Nova Scotia. May I present Elle Jones.
What is Nova Scotia? Some people would say it begins with the ocean that keeps a life cycle in motion and feeds us from fish down to seaweed. And nothing is too insignificant to give us what we need. Just like building our communities from the north end of Halifax to the trees of the eastern shore, from Acadia to Cape Breton, where stories are pouring out of us like a chorus, from the land that was here before us, to the daycares and clinics and businesses that support us, where those we are honoring with the Order have spent lifetimes fighting for issues that most ignore, the rights of special needs children, of the environment, the poor, for language and music and culture, to nurture our right to be more, because no one and nothing is too small or insignificant. From innocent children learning from each other's difference to still fighting the good fight at 93. From a magnificent cathedral of tall trees to symphonies. From North End cultures coming together to fight for human dignity, for our right to be, for beauty, for nature, to be free of poverty, for jobs and sustainability and opportunity in the places where we be. To raise our families in our homes without having to leave. What we see in these honorees is connections. Work that seems so different on the surface shares similar directions. Their dedication gives back to us reflections of how to build a province together, to live our lives with passion and affection. Not as a collection of individual interests, but as one force, selflessly moving us forward on one course, like when the conductor's baton drops and the instruments respond with one expression. Like when the wind blows through the leaves and they rustle like one inflection, like communities built from people with all backgrounds and complexions. Like embracing one humanity with all our imperfections, their biographies teach us lessons. One is the importance of protection, our need to preserve, whether it be our natural beauty or words, whether it be written in novels or heard in oral histories or in the songs of birds, whether it be demanding that development in our communities serve the residents first, or celebrating our language so eloquent from Gaelic to French, or creating spaces where every child can learn. No one should be turned away, not clear-cut or burned away, and what we give returns some way. And future generations thank us for our concern today. And maybe this next lesson is cliche, but they say your home is where your heart is. And these 5 show us your home is where you make your life, not only where you started. And when we are departed, if we leave our home a better place, then it's where we left our mark. It's not where you're from, it's what you do with the places where you're planted. And when we sow the seeds, we will see a harvest. And lesson 3 is sometimes the hardest, to sustain the world and guard it. Not to use nature, people, and communities and discard them, but to build a world where no one is treated like garbage or a target, where all stories are valuable, from the nonverbal child to the greatest artist, and from the smallest organism to the global market. We need to build a province and world where all things are regarded, where we live in harmony with each other and with the land and waters. And part of making that world is when commitment is rewarded. People like Margaret Casey, advocating that healthcare is for all, not just those who can afford it, and that people are our community's strongest resource, because health is not defined by numbers on paper. It's in quality of life and happiness and relationships. And so healthy communities need healthy spaces. Or people like Louis Deveau, who devoted his life to helping his community grow, taking something as simple as seaweed and applying his engineering know-how to keep jobs in Nova Scotia. And like everyone on the list, giving to his neighbors, preserving and nurturing the culture of Acadia, because this province is made up of so many languages and flavors. Or like Martin Rudy Hazy, showing that age is just a number, and that trees are more than lumber. And in this world, war, poverty, and hunger result from when we plunder nature. So we have to work for peace, and to save every piece of this earth that we can reach. Or like Sharon Hope Irwin, who gave all children a place to learn in, standing firm when people said it couldn't be done, because this society is meant for everyone. And when we get a wider vision of humanity, we see that there are more possibilities than we ever dreamed, and so our minds are open. And like Alistair MacLeod, who made Cape Breton proud, telling our stories out loud, but it was more than writing, inviting us to see the worth of a culture they said was dying, like lightning striking, like a wave rising out of the ocean, giving a voice to the world for all Nova Scotians. And so this spoken word piece is only a token, because words couldn't capture their passion and devotion. Lives lived in service with empathy and emotion, the best of our province, the home that they've chosen, as we follow the threads in the tapestries they've woven. Thank you.
and that was the Phoenix Youth Choir. Thank you, Al, for your tribute, and thank you, Ms. Pritchard, for accompanying the choir this morning and everything else you've done for us today. I will now call upon His Honor, Brigadier General the Honorable J.J. Grant, Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia and Chancellor of the Order of Nova Scotia for remarks.
Premier McNeil, Chief Justice MacDonald, former Lieutenant Governors Abraham, Freeman, and Francis, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as the representative of the Queen in our province and as Chancellor of the Order of Nova Scotia, certainly a pleasure to welcome you to Province House for today's investiture. Now, I have a few words to say, but I can't continue or I can't compete with L. Jones and the choir, so you'll have to put up with what I have to say. Civil societies around the globe recognize the attributes of exemplary citizenship, and we are right to celebrate passion, commitment, and drive. For the 5 individuals that the Crown has recognized today, and those who have become members of the Order since its establishment, they have all demonstrated they possess remarkable qualities. The 2015 honors list of 5 individuals, Dr. Margaret MacDonald Casey, Mr. Louis DeVoe, Martin Hawsey, Sharon Hope Irwin, and Mrs. MacLeod representing the late Alistair MacLeod. They are all indicative of the diversity, strength, and the breadth of contributions that Nova Scotians make to our province and to our country. They are examples to us all, and we can take much from their dedication in their search for excellence in their respective fields. I will not dwell on the character or caliber of this year's recipients of the Order. These details have so ably been included in the citations. Rather, I would like to briefly reflect on the nature of our provincial order. As the highest honor our province can bestow, the Order exemplifies what it means to be an outstanding contributor to the life and being of Nova Scotia and in the broader context of Canada. Honors in Canada are a tangible way in which the Crown, on behalf of the people, recognizes those who strive to give us positive notoriety and who ultimately make our community, our province, and our country a better place to live. A unique aspect of our honor system is that nominations come from the grassroots level. That is, regular citizens nominate those whom they deem to be worthy of recognition. It is a publicly driven process that relies upon citizen engagement. Exemplars of the highest order, all Nova Scotians, especially our young people, need to see that a life full of personal accomplishments can create a tremendous benefit for others. On behalf of Her Majesty the Queen and all Nova Scotians, please accept my heartfelt thanks for all that you have shared with your fellow citizens. Your success is something from which we can all draw inspiration and pride. You truly embody the spirit of the Order by seeking excellence. Thank you. Merci.
I would now call upon the Honourable Stephen McNeil, Premier of Nova Scotia, for remarks.
Your Honor, Chief Justice MacDonald, Your Honors, and my colleagues from the legislature, family and friends, it's great to have you here. The spoken word, you go, girl. Wow, what a tremendous tribute you did to for our guests here, and what a privilege it was for all of us to be here to listen to you. Well done. To the Phoenix Youth Choir, I had the good fortune of meeting a number of them at Phoenix House in Mulgrave Park. And I asked them, if the Premier could do one thing for you, what would it be? And they said, I just wish people would see our community for what it is and not for what they think it is. And you got a chance today to see their community for exactly what it is and how impressive it is. And as we stand here to honor 5 extraordinary Nova Scotians, we're blessed to recognize that our future will be blessed with extraordinary Nova Scotians who are now beginning to move through adolescence, adulthood, and begin to shape our future, our province in the future. So thank you to all of you for being here. This is an opportunity, the order, for us to recognize extraordinary Nova Scotians. And I want to say to the Advisory Council, each year we don't make your job that easy. We throw at you an extraordinary number of Nova Scotians who do an extraordinary number of things. And each and every year, you come forward and present to us with men and women of such diverse background, but who add to the complement of what makes this province the special place it is. So let me say thank you. I want to recognize Dr. Casey for your commitment, your lifelong commitment for health and community building. But can I also say thank you in your humble way with each Nova Scotian you meet. You ask us and you force us to look at ourselves and what are we doing to help our fellow citizen and follow in your examples, which you've been doing in the north end of Halifax. To Louis DeVoe, Mr. DeVoe, you've set an example for young Nova Scotians who aspire to be entrepreneurs. You've given them a model that I think will go through generations of research and development and investing in your people and investing in your community. I also want to acknowledge your deep commitment to your Acadian culture. Your ancestors are smiling, and I know your grandchildren are proud. To Mr. Haase, we as Nova Scotians are very, very proud of our province, our coastal beauty, our natural habitat, but we often and sometimes take it for granted. Let me thank you for reminding us that it needs to be preserved, protected, and nurtured, and you've done that over a lifetime. Thank you on behalf of all Nova Scotians. To Ms. Irwin, your work has made our province more inclusive, more caring, and more compassionate. Not only have you made your mark here in Nova Scotia, you have made your mark on the national stage, and you put our province as a leader on the national stage. Let me say, for generations and decades of young Nova Scotians whose lives you've touched and made a difference in, let me say thank you on behalf of all of us. To the McLeod family, to Mrs. McLeod, Alistair's words and his voice have traveled around the world to make sure that Nova Scotia's culture and heritage has been proud of. His book, No Great Mischief, I must tell you, when I read it, and with each introduction of a new character, I felt like I was being introduced to my own family. Through all of its blessings and complexities, that book has really made all of us and brought many of us back in touch with our own ancestral roots. Thank you for blessing us with him in this province. To all of you that are here, family and friends, this is an extraordinary special day for you. Let me say to you, thank you for sharing your loved ones with our province. Their commitment to all of the things that they've been doing has been only possible with your support. I know what it's like to sit in this audience as a family member of a recipient. I know how proud you are of your loved ones, and I want to say thank you on behalf of all Nova Scotians for allowing us to illuminate a light on their life and their success in this province and share your family story. Enjoy today very much. It is all of your day.
I now call upon Viola Robinson, Chair of the Order of Nova Scotia Advisory Council, for remarks.
Your Honors, Premier McNeil, esteemed recipients, friends and families, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming today to celebrate the achievements of the men and women before you today. The Order of Nova Scotia was established to recognize our most outstanding citizens. The recipients come from all different backgrounds, all working in diverse fields. All have something in common. Made valuable, lasting contributions to our province. As chair of the Order of Nova Scotia Advisory Council, I have the opportunity to read the wonderful nominations we receive each year. Selecting the recipients is never an easy task. There are so many Nova Scotians who have achieved great things that have left a lasting impact on our province. Today's recipients are no different. They have dedicated their lives to help create a better future for all Nova Scotians. They have worked to spread the story of our traditions and to preserve our province's beauty. They have made our province a stronger place to live and work, and for that we are thankful. There is no doubt these individuals deserve our province's highest honor. Accomplishments would not have been possible without your love and support. Thank you to the members of the Advisory Council who spent countless amounts of time and effort on the nomination and selection process. And to everyone in attendance, thank you for celebrating this wonderful occasion with us today. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join in singing the Royal Anthem. And please remain standing for the departure of the Lieutenant Governor, Premier, and recipients and members of the Order of Nova Scotia Advisory Council. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for sharing in this special ceremony today. This now concludes the formal portion of our ceremony. On behalf of the Premier, I invite you to a reception.